All right. So we should be good to go here. I'm going to start sharing my screen and then I'll probably talk for about 10, 15 minutes and then we're going to go from there. All right. So keep those as questions in mind. We will address those toward the end and feel free to utilize the chat feature. So cool. Thank you guys all for joining. Thanks for having me. Okay. Here we go. Okay. All right. Can you all see that screen there? It's like a thumbs up from some, maybe a nod. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. All right. Awesome. Well, yeah, without further ado, let's hop in here. Okay, so semester at sea. So if you have heard of semester at sea, that's awesome. If not, then you are definitely in the right place. So we are going to be a semester-long study abroad program. We will take students from universities from all across the world to 10 to 12 different countries every fall and spring semester. Students spend about 4 to 6 days on average in each country. Just kind of depends on the port. And during that time, you have a kind of a variety of options to choose from when it comes to in-country travel and what that you choose for that to look like. So we will dive into that a bit more as we work through this PowerPoint. So, all right. Yeah, so this is going to be our most recent upcoming voyage. So it's going to be our fall 2021 voyage. Unfortunately, due to, COVID and the current world that we're all living in, we have had to cancel our fall 2020 voyage, as well as our spring 2021 voyage. So this would be the most recent one. This is a good idea of what a semester at sea voyage route could look like. Keep in mind with the world we're living in, these are very subject to change for sure. So just keep that in mind, and we'll talk a bit more about the shipboard experience as well. So okay, yep. So this is going to be our spring 2022 voyage. Just again another example of what a route can look like. So nice to keep in mind. All right, my little bar is hiding that, but I believe this is, yes, our ship. So we are lucky enough to sail the ocean on the MV World Odyssey every semester. This is going to be essentially like a big cruise ship. So we've got a bunch of classrooms on there, 9 decks, dining halls, library, student union, a theater, medical clinic, essentially anything you can find on your home campus, you're going to be able to find on the MV World Odyssey. It's definitely the most unique campus out there, in my opinion. So yeah, it's a gorgeous ship. Okay, a bit about our community. We're going to have about 570 students on each voyage. Now that number does fluctuate a bit, but they're going to come from about 250 universities. So it's a very diverse community. You're going to primarily, the students will be coming from the US, but you're going to have about 10% of that student population will be international students as well. There's going to be about 60 faculty and staff, and they are also welcome to bring their families. That will also be on board with you, along with 10 lifelong learners. They are a group of adults above the age of 35 who get to experience the voyage along with you. And then 200 international crew members. So they are really like the life and soul of the ship. The crew is amazing. So yeah, very, very fun SAS community, that's for sure. Okay, so we have our academic portion. Yeah, so semester at sea, we are going to be open to all majors. So you can be an engineering major and do semester at sea. You could be a communications major. We're going to offer about 70 courses on every voyage. They're going to really range in discipline. So yeah, again, you can be any major. They are going to be about 2/3 upper division courses, 1/3 lower division. So just keep that in mind. You know, when I am an alumni of the program as well, and I sailed during my senior year of college, and yeah, it took about 2/3 upper division courses, 1/3 lower division. So just keep that in mind. It's really good to know if you're going to your academic advisor, needing a little bit of help in terms of planning. So we always encourage you, you know, when you're looking into the study abroad process, go talk to your university, talk to your study abroad office, talk to your academic advisor, your financial aid advisor. You know, it's they are really going to know the most about your process when it comes to going abroad. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, a quick question here. What is upper division and lower division? So upper division courses are going to be any course in like the 400, 300 level. So a senior level or junior level course traditionally, and then lower division courses are going to be 200 level or 100 level. So sophomore or freshman level courses. So yeah, a little bit of clarification there. And you can earn up to 12 credits each semester by taking 4 courses. You can take 5 if that is what you need to keep on track academically. But we recommend taking 12. But do keep in mind you take those. You can get up to 15 credits. So, all right. Along with our academic portion, so every single course is going to be paired with a field class. So that is essentially going to be an in-country field trip that you and your professor and your classmates take for a 1-day import out of the voyage. So you'll have a total of 4 field classes over the course of your voyage. They're going to be, again, led by your professor. They are going to really correspond with what you're learning in the classroom. So, you know, you can see some examples here down below. My personal example, when I was in India, I was with my international issues in tourism class, and we went to a medical clinic and talked about medical tourism, and actually got to see what we were learning in the classroom in real life. And they're very impactful experiences, and they really stick with you. So, yeah. Okay. Next, we have our import experience. So this is you're going to have 3 options when it comes to traveling import. Like we just chatted about, we have the field class option. Then you have our field programs. These are going to be programs actually designed and facilitated through Semester at Sea. And they really range from a half-day program, maybe cooking dinner with a local family, all the way up to a multi-night, overnight program. Maybe you are going to the Taj Mahal, and that's a 3-night program. And then you have your independent travel piece, which is essentially what it sounds like. So you and maybe some friends from the voyage, you decide to travel independently. Maybe you want to rock climb in every single country that you come into, and there's a certain climb that you want to try when you're in South Africa, and you can do that. We do have some guidelines, of course, that we expect you to follow in terms of health and safety, of following local customs and cultures and making sure that you're respecting the local community. So yeah, in terms of in-country travel, that is kind of what you can expect. Okay, now we have our shipboard life. So this is like the secret sauce of Semester at Sea, in my opinion. When I first got on the ship as a student a few years ago, my dean actually had said, everybody's going to ask you what your favorite country is after you get back, and I guarantee that it's going to be the ship. It's something that I think a lot of people, it takes people by surprise, but the community that forms on Semester at Sea is one of the most amazing things that you'll ever experience. So we have a variety of student life programs, ranging from, a club rush right at the beginning of the semester, We've got intramural sports. There's always going to be like sunrise and sunset yoga going on. And these are all things that are going to be facilitated by community members. Say you love photography, you can start a photography club. It's really, really great community that gets built. And then we also have our fitness center and gym, so you can stay active and fit and have access to those sort of things. So. Okay, a little bit more about our shipboard community. We have a few really unique events to semester at sea. So we have like Neptune Day, which is when you cross the equator. Got Sea Olympics, the Alumni Ball. Got movies going on pretty much every night. Taco Night, which is one of the most anticipated events on the ship. When you've been eating, the same food over and over, Taco Night is definitely a welcome evening. Yeah, a little bit about that. And then to kind of wrap up here, we'll just touch on our admission requirements. We have just unveiled a new application. Our old one was really dated and just temperamental, and so we have a new application. It's really easy. You could finish it, complete it in an evening. As part of that application, we have our optional student essay. Your application will never be viewed differently if you decide that you don't want to do that essay for some reason. That's totally up to you. And then we will require you to submit an unofficial transcript from the institution that you're currently attending, as well as any transfer credits that you maybe, completed earlier on in your academic career. So yeah, it's pretty simple. If our review committee goes through and we need some more information from you, then we are going to reach out and ask you for that. But this would be your first step. And then if you are admitted, as your voyage approaches, we are going to ask for a disciplinary clearance form. So that is just to make sure everything is on the up and up at your home university. And then along with a few other things, you will be ready to sail. So yeah, that is, let's see here. What is the acceptance rate? All right, yeah, that's a good question. So to be honest, if you meet our requirements, chances are you are going to be admitted. There are going to, maybe you go to a certain university that requires university approval. You might have a few other things to complete before you're admitted. But if you do reach that 2.5 GPA requirement, we're going to give you every consideration. In terms of application deadlines, we actually don't have application deadlines. We work on a rolling admission basis. So we recommend kind of looking into the program, starting to talk with your study abroad office about a year in advance. So yeah, if you're thinking that fall 2021 would be a great fit for you, then reach out to your study abroad office right away. Start getting some info from them, set up a advising session, that sort of thing. So yeah, good question. Thanks for popping those in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, that is it. Yeah, cost. That's a great question too. Yeah, so our costs actually here, I will pop that in the chat, a link to our cost pages. I'm getting distracted by the chat. Here we go. I will copy and paste this link into the chat for you guys. Look at those. I will also put in our scholarships in there as well. Let's see if only people who attend university, or could it also be someone who goes to community college? Yeah, you can absolutely be a community college student and do semester at sea. You would apply as an undergraduate student, just like you would if you're attending a four-year university. So yeah, you can attend any 2 or 4-year university and do semester at sea. Megan Perry's question, what impact does COVID-19 have on the program? Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, obviously it's had a huge impact. We are, a higher education program that puts college students on a ship and, sails with them around the world. So on essentially a big cruise ship. So you can see there we're definitely dealing with some challenges. I am going to navigate to our COVID-19 response page. I will also pop this link in the chat for you guys. Um, oh, sorry. I saw that those links did not go through at first, so I'm going to do those again as well about the program fees and scholarship. Fees, there are the scholarships. Oh, wait. Okay, and then I will put this our in there. The biggest impact it's had on our program, I mean, we've had to cancel our fall 2020 voyage and then our spring 2021 voyage. We are going through, we're consulting with experts in the field to see how we're going to coordinate this program and make it safe for everybody and ensure everybody's health and safety. So yeah, definitely take a look at this page here. And if you have further questions, we have all these FAQs. Feel free to shoot me an email. Or email, our general admission account, and we can address those more specific questions for you as well. Let's see here. All right, Madison Baker, estimated cost. Are we able to use financial aid as we would regular university tuition? Yeah, great question. So our sticker price is going to really range. So it's going to range from about $24,000 to like $32,000 for the semester for the voyage. That's going to include your room and board, your 12 credits of, of courses, as well as, health insurance and transportation to, on the ship to each place on your itinerary. When I first heard about semester at sea and saw that cost, like my jaw dropped. I thought there's no way I could afford that. But then, to answer your second question, Madison, I actually went in and talked with my study abroad office, talked with my financial aid office, and they were able to let me know what aid of mine transferred and applied toward the program and what didn't. I also applied for as many semester at sea scholarships as I could, that I qualified for. And that really, really helps with the cost. So just keep those things in mind. And I would really recommend speaking with your campus because in terms of on campus aid, that's just going to depend on your university. So, okay, let's see here. Yeah, Krista, semester T has so many scholarships. We really do. And they're quite generous. I mean, they really range from about $500 up to about $10,000. So do be sure to take a look at those on our website. And don't get scared off by the cost. I know it's definitely something to consider, of course, when you're thinking about going abroad. But just talk with people on your home campus and your study abroad office and your financial aid office. Feel free to send me an email. And we are happy to just walk through your situation with you and discuss how to make it affordable and make it a financial reality for you. Okay. Now with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Great questions, everybody. Thanks for listening. And I'm going to open it up to our three panelists here. Let's go ahead and start with Daryl. And Daryl, just tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe, a fun anecdote from your voyage.
Hi, everybody. I'm Daryl Harris. I'm a professor in the Theater and Dance program in the School of the Arts at Northern Kentucky University. Myself, I love to travel. I tell my students that travel is the highest form of education, even if it's just across the street. And international travel is like the epitome education, particularly if you're focused on developing yourself as a human being. So my experience, and I consider myself a lifelong learner, and tell my students also that I always will learn from them. The presentation made me so seasick, but in a good way, more like homesick, not seasick, because it was such a, from my perspective, it was such a perfectly phenomenal experience, and from the student's perspective, it's a perfectly incredible experience. There's nothing like it. She talked about the renowned faculty, one of which you see here, but my colleagues were brilliant and specifically suited for this experience, because one of the things, the opportunities that you have as a student is to interact with not only your faculty, but faculty from all across the disciplines and all across the world in informal ways that you typically don't take the advantage to do on your home campuses, because you're living with everybody. So you might have lunch with Dr. So-and-so one day and breakfast with Dr. So-and-so or Ella or Ina the other day. Pardon me if that was offensive to any persons. So yeah, I can't think of a fun anecdote. I just want to push you to push yourselves to do this. You must. During I was in spring 2019, they made a specific vow or dedication or assurance to make a concerted effort to appeal to more diverse or persons of color across the globe as student bodies, and making the experience more accessible, both financially and otherwise. So I was very pleased to hear that they're making the organization was making that effort. The only thing I can think of was a woman stopped me on the street to ask for some of my jewelry, which I wear every day, and I said, this is in Myanmar, and she wasn't speaking English, so I gave the international sign for money. So okay, you give me some money. And she reached in her bag, her paper bag, and pulled out this big wad of cash. And I said, oh, okay, shut my face. And so we went through this whole little dialogue without words. And that's the brilliance of it also, your ability to learn to communicate with other people across the planet in ways other than, you're not limited to words. Words are helpful, but you're not limited to, which also expands you as a human being as far as your interactions with everyone else. I could talk forever. I'm going to stop, but that's what I have to say. Do it, do it, do it, do it.
Thank you so much, Daryl. It's really great to get a professor perspective. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Okay. All right, let's hop on over to Bethel. You wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, maybe saying what you're studying at WKU, and share like a little bit about your semester at sea experience. Thanks.
Okay, so hi, I'm Bethel. I go to Western Kentucky. I'm a junior and I study English with a little bit of social justice and film. And I was on the spring 2020 voyage. So it was a voyage that was a little different than the rest. It was definitely a really, really unique experience. I felt like I really, really grew and changed as a person. And like, I feel like we're all already kind of at that age where we're like kind of coming into our own. And I feel like this experience kind of just really helped push me through that kind of moment. And it really just helps you gain confidence and independence. And I don't really have an antidote, but one of the memories that I just kind of keep replaying in my head these days is like the stargazing nights and just like laying on like the floor of the deck, and they would like turn off all the lights and we would just look up at the stars, and we'd like have binoculars and stuff, and it was just like really freezing cold too, so you'd be squished up against your friends. And I think semester at sea is just full like a lot of those moments where you're just like, I need to remember this forever. So it's definitely life-changing, as I'm sure you've heard before, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we did some stargazing nights on my voyage as well, and they were incredible. Yeah.
The best.
Right. Sydney, if you wouldn't mind jumping in here, just kind of sharing a little bit about yourself and your voyage experience. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Sydney. I also go to Western. I'm a senior. I'm studying international business and I have a minor in marketing. So with international business, I just always knew that I wanted to travel. I just wanted to go out in the world and see everything. And out of all the study abroad programs that I looked at, and I looked at a lot, semester at sea was like the one that I was like, okay, this is perfect. You know, you get a little taste of everything. But also it's just a lot of what Bethel said, like it's kind of hard to describe when you're not there, but then when you get put in the situation, it really opens your eyes. Like you grow a lot because everything is so unfamiliar. And honestly, one of my favorite things about the voyage was not having access to like the internet ever. And like it's, you know, you kind of forget. It kind of felt like, not in a bad way, but like you're kind of like camp again, or like you're back in like when you're 12 years old and like no one has their phones and everyone is just so connected with each other. And just really kind of connecting deeper on a personal level. But yeah, you really grow a lot. And I'm going through that little presentation that you were showing. It was like, I was getting a little bit emotional because I was like, oh my gosh, I remember, you know, looking at these when I was a freshman and now I've, you know, done it and it's gone. But I just want to thank everyone for like being here because you are taking the first step to really like looking into this amazing experience. An anecdote, I was trying to think, and I mean there's so many, you know, different little things, but I think really, you know, you said the secret sauce was like being on the ship. You kind of forget about that because you're so focused on going to different countries and stuff, but really just the community is something undescribable, and I hope that someday you all can take part in that.
Thank you so much, Sydney. It looks like we have a few questions that rolled in. Daryl, Bethel, Sydney, if you you know, wanna jump in here too and help answer these questions, feel free to. It looks like maybe this one for you, Sydney. Rayanne says, "Wait, there isn't any Wi-Fi. How do we do our homework?"
Oh, yes, that is a great question. So they're really good. All the professors are really good about providing you materials. There's kind of like, I don't know if you go to Western, you know, we use Blackboard and stuff. Like there's kind of like it's called Moodle. It's like your own Blackboard. So the professors are really good about providing you all the materials that you need for your classes. Usually you have to, you know, get books and stuff. So use a lot of that. You do have access to Wikipedia though. That was a lifesaver. I don't know if that's how it was on the past voyages, but that's really nice. And they also have a library with a lot of resources, and they do have different computers that do have Wi-Fi, so you have to like sign up to use that. But if you like need to research something, you do have the ability to use the internet just at like a smaller time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Also, on my voyage as well, we did not have internet either, and that was like the best part. I mean, you make closer friends in 4 months than you do in 4 years. I think because of that internet piece, you are really in this environment where you have to put the phone down and you're forced to just talk with people, and you get to know your professors better, and it's really an incredible experience. Um, Looks like, Brian, you also had a follow-up question that says, how do you get in contact with your families? Every Voyager on Semester at Sea is going to have a Semester at Sea email, and you're going to have unlimited access to that, and you're going to be able to contact your family that way. We also have calling cards on the ship that you can purchase if you would like to call home. So, and also, you know, what I like personally did was when we were in country, I would, you know, if I was able to find some Wi-Fi, then I would like Wi-Fi call home, maybe Skype, that sort of thing. So, all right, it looks like Krista asked Daryl, Sydney, and Bethel, what was your favorite field class experience? So you guys feel free to jump in and answer that.
Well, actually, only one of my field classes ended up happening. So, but it was definitely really interesting and fun. It was in Vietnam, and we went to the Cu Chi tunnels, which are basically how the Northern Vietnamese fought in the Vietnam War. And it was really cool. We got to go through, and it's basically like underground, and you can even like, it's not like a normal tunnel, it's like a small kind of hole in the ground. So you can go through those and you can just kind of like get the experience of kind of how they had to live day to day in war. And you also can see like kind of like the secret kitchens they had and how they camouflaged the holes. So it was definitely really interesting. It's like one of those things where like what you learn in the classroom actually comes to life. So.
As I said earlier, I teach theater and dance, so I keep classes and courses mixed up, so I'm going with the field classes associated with the course. Yes. So even though the spending the day with the master puppeteer and dancers in Myanmar was brilliant, and spending a day with the Kathakali master and company in India was brilliant. Notice how I snuck all three of them in there. That's how we sticky professors do. My favorite was spending the day with the National Theater Company of Ghana, where they did workshops with us at first of both drama and dance. And then the second half of the day, they did like pretty much a full evening's performance, variety performance of dance and theater. And then we had food in the middle of that from a local food in the middle. So I think that was my favorite. It was the most intensive, and it was the sweatiest. Okay.
All of my field classes got canceled, so I didn't get to go on one. But I did kind of do something similar with Bethel. I went to the Coochie tunnels and did a whole tour thing, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the field classes that I was going to go on anyways. And that was amazing, eye-opening. But yes, I did not get to go on one, so.
Oh, shoot, jeez. Yeah, spring 2020, you guys definitely rolled with the punches. So we really appreciate that. And but yeah, thank you guys for sharing your experiences.
This should go in the chat, but so did you emotionally heal from the I guess you did, because here you are, from the breakup of the cutoff of the voyage?
I mean, yeah, it was obviously really hard. You know, I was waiting to do this for like ever, and then it got cut short and stuff. But I mean, I tell people all the time that I don't regret anything. I wouldn't have changed the experience for anything with the whole, pandemic and learning everything with that. Just like seeing how different parts of the world also reacted with it. Cause I mean, we had been dealing with it since January when China got canceled, before anyone that I knew really had heard about it. So it was really interesting seeing the world kind of deal with it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think just because it was such an amazing experience and I really grew from just dealing with that alone and, being with all my friends and stuff, that, I guess I have healed from it. So it's good.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Sydney said. At first, it was just like really kind of jarring. Like we saw it coming, but like when they say it, it's like kind of different. So I think like the first couple of weeks back home were really like my morning time, but after that I was able to like just kind of be like, wow, that was really amazing while it lasted.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. We'll just kind of continue working through the questions that are in the chat here. But Sophia asked, what year do you all recommend / average at going? So I'll say on the ship, our most common year to go is going to be your junior year. So you'll have a lot of people in that like traditional junior, like junior and college age range. Maybe like 20, 21. I was a senior when I went. Bethel, Sydney, when did you guys go in your academic career?
I was a sophomore.
I was a junior, so.
Yeah, so you can really be any year. What I would recommend is look at what fits best into your academic schedule. I was actually going to go a semester early and then saw the classes released for the fall 17 voyage, and they just lined up better with what I needed to complete my degree. So, definitely if you go as a sophomore, you're going to fit in just fine. It's not like segmented in that way at all on the ship. So whatever works best for you. But it is what we find most common is usually like junior year is when students will go. Let's see. Madison said, what are dorms like? Community showers? Yeah, so you are, every student's going to be placed in a cabin. We have a few different cabin types, but you will either be placed with one other individual or two other individuals. So you'll either be in a double cabin or a triple cabin. You're either going to be in an inside cabin, which means that you're really on the inside of the ship. You don't have a window, or you'll be in an outside cabin, which means you do have a window. And you are just going to share a bathroom with your roommates or your cabin mates. So no community showers or anything like that. It would just be you and tops two other people that you would be sharing a shower with. Let's see. Yeah, like Nia, do we have to ask all questions through the chat? You feel free to unmute, guys, if you want to just chime in and ask. Or
Okay.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, go for it, Nia.
I did have a question. Oh yeah, I'm Nia and I'm from Western and I'm a freshman. But like I've been looking at science for like years now, like I've seen all the vlogs and everything. But something I haven't really seen is like a lot of diversity on the ship. I don't know if somebody can just like speak on that or like, yeah, is there something like some steps that are being taken? I don't know, because that was just one of my like main concerns.
Yeah, no, that's a really great question, and I really appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, just as an organization, we've known that, and it's something that we work on. Like Daryl said, that it's an initiative that we're really leaning into and trying to initiate here. For our home office staff, we have really undergone a lot of just internal learning and taking that step because I think it does start with our staff. And then it's gonna, we have plans to integrate that into the shipboard community as well. So we, as a staff, we do have a committee that meets every other week to discuss how we can be more inclusive on our voyages. Following every voyage, we get together with our shipboard team and discuss what their experience was like on the ship, things that we need to work on. And that's a really open line of communication, because we recognize that your voyage experience can look very differently for somebody of, this background versus this background. So we are definitely taking steps to make sure that we can get some more diversity on board. We also have quite a bit of scholarships and aid available for to help those initiatives. So definitely take a look at our scholarships as well. I don't know if someone on the panel, if you guys would like to chime in here, please feel free to, but no pressure, yeah.
Yeah, as I said, as she mentioned, and as I said, as of 2019, they were, I can't think of the word, vowed to take aggressive steps to remedy that. For example, I was the only person of African descent, of African American descent. There were other persons of color on the faculty, but also there was a minimal number of students. But Nia, please keep in mind that that's a two-way street. So part of the problem, yes, they have a responsibility, the organization has a responsibility to reach out, but we have a responsibility to step up and step out. So I was telling several of my students were interested, and I told them, do not let that price tag shut you down. If you keep reading below, even on their site, if you keep reading below and below and below and below and below, there are multiple opportunities to make things happen. Where we tend to fall short is not going for it, not valuing an international experience as high. So so push for what you see, push for yourself, because you being there is one more person there. You being there is an example to 15 other people that yes, you can do it. So it's a two-way thing. Does it make sense to you?
And then also, I think my time there, we also, like me and some of my friends, we noticed some of kind of the same issues that you're pointing out. And we tried to like go and kind of, you know, take our opinions to like people like Maddie said, so like they can work on it and stuff. But I joined the BSA on the ship, which is like the Black Student Association. So it was nice to just like kind of have a little community of like people who can kind of work through the same experience that you're having. And like I was also part of like the Asian like group. I forgot what it's called. It was like triple A, or I forgot what it is, but I also went to their meetings too, which was like a nice community for them. Like, and it wasn't like we were all like exclusively like one color, or like each group was just one kind of race. It was just like predominantly, but we like to like step out of our groups and kind of like see what other people were doing, kind of like their thoughts and experiences, which is really nice. And yeah.
And the brilliant thing about that experience there is it's a rare opportunity to experience other Blacks in the world, because we're accustomed to African Americans, but Africans, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Black North Africans, Black South Americans, expands your concept of diversity in a way that nothing else can do it. And you have that already, you have that in that one setting and in that one experience and that long-term experience with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of my
Great.
oh,
Sorry, Bethel, go ahead.
one of my like close friends on the trip was Kenyan, so that was interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Do it.
Thank you for raising that question, Nia, and thank you guys for chiming in there. Yeah, here we can continue just working through the chat here. And again, yeah, if you guys just want to unmute and ask, please feel free to do so. But it looks like here we have a question: are there any private rooms? Can you choose your room? Are there payment plans for paying for the program? So yes, you can request a room. We do not have private rooms available to students at this time. If you do have some sort, you know, like a medical accommodation, then our staff will work with you to accommodate that. But in terms of your rooms, you are going to request your room when you place your deposit. That is going to be a request, so we will do our best to accommodate. But you know, getting into like the discussion about cost, rooms are going to have a big impact on your costs. So if you are in a inside triple cabin, so you're on the inside of the ship, no window, with you and two others, your room rate is going to be lower than someone who's in an outside double. So if you are, you know, really focused on making the voyage affordable, then we would recommend you apply a bit earlier. So closer to that, like, you know, year mark, and then you're going to have a better opportunity to get that more affordable room type. And then in terms of payment plans, we actually do have a payment plan option. And it's just going to break up your overall cost depending on how many months up to the voyage that you have. So say you start the payment plan 6 months before your voyage. I believe there's a couple payments even after you start sailing. So you could have like a 8 payments total. We've got a little bit more info about that on our website. And then if you get admitted, then we do, you know, make sure to pass along all of that information to you as well. So yeah, good question. Krista also popped a note in the chat about our Pell Grant opportunity, which is really great, along with the Gilman Scholarship. So feel free to check out those links there. I will say about our Pell Grant, we do, if you are a Pell Grant recipient, say you're getting a $3,000 Pell Grant, you can apply that $3,000 to your voyage, and then we're going to match it. So you will actually get a total of $6,000 toward your voyage. So that is a really, really great opportunity to take advantage of. All right, Cassandra, as an LGBTQ plus student, will we be at risk for violence in countries where homosexuality is illegal? Safety precautions taken to protect minority students. Yeah, wow, that's a really great question. I mean, so we have a pre-port session that we do run through before every single port that you come into. So as you're entering a country the night before, you and the entire shipboard community are going to get together and we're going to talk about safety. And yeah, if there are certain groups that are, maybe at risk in that country, we're going to give you a heads up. But also I will, say we thoroughly vet these countries that we bring you to. So if there is, a population that's going to be at risk, we're not going to go to that country. You might, there might, yeah, that's a really great question, and it's tough. But we're definitely not going to set you up to put you in a harmful position. We're going to equip you with the knowledge and resources that you need to ensure your health and safety when you're in that country. Daryl, I see you unmuted.
Yes, several of my colleagues, several members of the administration, and quite a few of the students were blatantly, clearly out and out, for lack of a better, more contemporary reference. And I never heard any of them talk about any concerns for safety, partially due to the standards that are set, and partially due to their own being smart. And as the same with any lifestyle, blatantly going against a country's is not to your country's. More ways, like covering shoulders, for example, for women. Well, these are my shoulders. Why can I show them? So it's consistent with being respectful of the mores of every country. But I never heard any instance of violence, and these were from people who, on the streets of Covington, Kentucky, might have some challenges.
Thanks, Daryl, for hopping in there. Yeah, Cassandra, and and I see there's quite a few arrows pointing up to that question, and it's a great question. Feel free to shoot me an email, and I will gather up some resources and share them with you. Those are things that we definitely don't take lightly. We want to make sure that you are feeling safe and protected, and that you're going to have a great, experience when you're in those countries. So shoot me an email. And we'll get a little info packet together for you and share it. We have an entire student life team on every voyage that takes those things very seriously. We also have an entire student life team in our office as well, that we want to know when you're asking those questions. We want to know what you want to know, and what's going to make you feel safe and secure on our program. So yeah, great question. Definitely shoot me an email, and I'll gather up some more in-depth info for you as well to share. So thank you guys. Yeah. Okay. We got about 10 minutes left. So please, thank you guys so much for sticking around. I know this is a lot of information. We'll just continue working through the chat. And if you have any questions, feel free to unmute and just ask them if you're comfortable with that. Let's see here. All right, Brianna said, when we know the proper cultures to follow for each country, like Daryl said, with the shoulders being covered, so you would know what's packed for certain countries. Yeah, absolutely. So that is actually also going to fall in that pre-port session. So we have, you have the logistical pre-port, which is going to give you the emergency number for that country, the closest US embassy, the ship person and office person that's always going to be on call when you're in country. And then we have our cultural pre-port, which is, a separate section of that overall pre-port. We have our cultural pre-port. And that is where we're gonna address those proper cultures to follow. In terms of packing and preparations, that's also a really good question too. So we will send you out a packing list, and we're going to put on there, a lot of these voyages, even in terms of weather, it just ranges from, you might have the hottest weather that you've ever experienced, and a lot of humidity, or you might have freezing cold temperatures. So we're gonna do our best to prepare you there. But in terms of we're on that packing list, it'll say a or something to make sure that your shoulders can be covered or that sort of thing. Just some So then, yeah, you don't get into like a tricky situation. We definitely are not setting you up to get into those situations on our program. Really, really good question.
I'm
I
gonna
have
go
a
back just
question
a
for
bit to
Sydney
the
and
at
Bethel.
risk. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I had a
You're
question
good.
for Sydney and Bethel. Did you guys like feel like you were prepared, like with the packing and everything, whenever you did get to go to like Vietnam and stuff?
I definitely feel like I did. I was gonna mention just kind of hopping off of Maddie, like, I mean, they tell you to bring, plenty of, like, if you need to cover up, pants or shirts and stuff, but also, when you go in country, you'll kind of like get a feel for what everyone else is wearing, like what's kind of more appropriate, what's not, because they may tell you, oh, you should keep your knees covered, but then you notice not many people really actually have their knees covered, so you might be more comfortable wearing shorts because like Vietnam is like super hot and stuff like that. But I definitely, it's kind of a harder question to ask because we didn't go everywhere that we were supposed to, so I didn't get to wear all the clothes that I had packed. But I would say definitely I watch like a billion vlogs and stuff. Every like semester tea packing video that I could find really helped a lot. So I definitely recommend doing that. But I think that semester at sea does a really good job at preparing you for like what clothes to pack and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. Like reading those packing lists, especially as they pertain to specific countries that you're going to. Also, the time that you go to them, because like the weather, you want to, if it's going to be cold or if it's going to be hot, you want to be prepared for that. And also, packing lightly is a big thing because you don't just want to be lugging around just a bunch of clothes that you won't wear. And yeah, basically, like Sydney said, after like your first day or two in country, you can kind of get a feel of what you're supposed to be dressing like.
I want to go back a couple of questions to the at-risk populations. The most at-risk and the most violence reports that we heard were from excessively drunk, heterosexual white males. Those were who were at risk, who did not follow the protocol that was set for them. So everybody else, there was nothing. But every instance of violence that we heard, that was specifically whom that violence was against.
Yeah, that's a great point, Daryl. Thank you for adding that in. Um, let's see here. All right, we got about 5 more minutes. Thank you guys so much for your questions. This has been such a great session. I hope that you guys have gotten a lot out of it as well. If we don't get to your questions, that's okay. I think I popped my email in the chat earlier. I will put it in there again just for you all to have. And feel free to send me an email directly, and then I'll gather up that info for you and pass it along. We can also, get you in touch with someone from your university. Chances are, with help of our study abroad office, or with help of your study abroad office, we can get you in touch in that way as well. Oops, shoot. I'm going to put my email in the chat there for you, and then we can discuss these questions that just rolled in. All right, so is the program open to graduate students? It is. Yes, you can sail on our post-grad program. Now, just keeping in mind that we don't offer graduate level courses. So you will be participating still in those undergraduate 100 level to 400 level courses. But you can be a graduate student or a post-grad and do semester at sea. So yes. Hold up here. If you are of age, can you drink? Yeah, you can. And that is something, in a fair number of these countries, they might have a cultural beverage that happens to be alcoholic. Feel free to try that. Like, that is a great experience, and feel free to have a drink at dinner. We even have drink nights on the ship. So depending, it's not going to be every night, but you can get either 2 glasses of wine or 2 beers on those drink nights. And that, will be additional costs, but you're free to do that. So yeah, I mean, you're adults. You meet the age to drink, then you are welcome to do that. Yeah. Let's see here. Do you have any experience with or know someone who has done one of the shorter summer programs? I saw ones on your website that were 20 days. That is a really good question, and we do get that a lot. Unfortunately, we don't have summer programs. It just comes down to logistics with our ship. We're unable to offer those at this time. Those shorter programs that you saw are probably our spotlight voyages. So those are going to be open to our lifelong learner population, unfortunately not to our student population. So students are required to participate in the entire voyage because you have to complete your courses. You can't participate in only half. You do have to commit and participate for the whole voyage. So at this point, we do just have those fall and spring offerings. Let's see here. Yeah, Sydney popped her information in there. Feel free to reach out. Definitely, yeah, and Bethel as well. I mean, that's great. It's so great to get a peer perspective from the program, because it is really important, to pick their brain about their experience. And thank you guys so much for being willing to share your information. And yeah, thank you so much. Let's see, I'm just paging through all of these questions. Here we go. Sarah, if we're of age in that country, can we try the drinks? Yeah. Yep, we talked about that. Yeah. All right, we've got like a minute left, but Jenna said, Sydney and Bethel, did you guys seem to struggle at all with your classes? So if you just want to like hop in.
I'll try to keep it kind of brief. It's kind of the same with college. A lot of it depends on your professor. Some of them will be a lot more hard. Some of them will be easier. But I mean, I'll be honest, it's not the easiest, but at the same time, since you don't have any distractions when you're on the ship, you don't have your phone, you don't have internet, you have plenty of time to get all your work done. Like, I read and studied more than I probably had ever in my life. So, you have plenty of time to get all your stuff done. But it's also like they do a really good job of like trying to connect your schoolwork with countries and stuff if that's possible. So that's also a really cool thing to keep it kind of engaging and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say I struggled. They were definitely not easy, but they also were very manageable and very informational.
Yeah, and I think if there's anything that I struggled with, it's just time management. So that would be my only thing.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for
In the rooms, did you guys is it only by boy and girl and all that? Or I mean boy and boy and girl and girl?
Yeah, that's a good question. We actually do. We have a gender inclusive housing. So if you would like to be a part of that, then you're free to do that. If you would like to, if you're a woman and you would like to request a male roommate, you can do that. So we do not restrict cabin assignments to male and male and female and female. So great question. I think, yeah, we are just about at the end of our time. Man, thank you guys so much. That was a great session. I hope that you got a lot out of it. Thank you so much, Daryl, Bethel, and Sydney. Your perspectives are so valued, and really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hop in here and share a bit. I put my email in the chat. Please do not hesitate if you have any questions. If I happen to skip over your question by accident, just send me an email, and I'm more than happy to help you out with that. And I would just say, really encourage you to talk with your study abroad office. And ultimately, I think we're a bit biased because Semester at Sea is one of the most incredible programs in the world, and most amazing experience. But ultimately, the goal is to just get abroad. So if you can get abroad, whether that's a summer program or whatever works best for you, do it. It's going to be the best experience of your life. Daryl, Bethel, Sydney, if you guys have anything to add, please feel free to do so. And Daryl put his email in the chat, so you definitely, having all their information, feel free to reach out to them. Don't be shy. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. I know I sure did when I heard about semester at sea. So Daryl, Bethel, Sydney, I know Anne Perry is on here as well. If you guys have anything you'd like to add, please feel free to hop in.
I've said more than enough. Other than just do it, make yourself do it. It's not an extravagance. It's a necessity. It's a life experience that'll build you beyond anything else that's possibly could do.
And kind of what Daryl said earlier, like I thoroughly believe that the world is the best classroom that you could have. I probably learned more in that 2.5 months on that ship than I would have just, it's just do it. Like I said, do it. I put my information on there if you all have any questions in the chat, if you all have any questions about anything, because I know that I had a lot of like random questions that I wouldn't really get from YouTube videos or advisors or whatever. It's kind of nice to have it from like a peer. So reach out, do it. Yes.
And I just want to say, don't let money be the thing that's holding you back. There are so many scholarships. You can get it funded. Trust me, you just have to work towards it. And
that's why God invented grandparents.
And yeah, feel free to reach out. I also put my information down.
Thank you guys so much. Yeah, this was a great hour. Again, yeah, you've got a lot of resources here. If you have any questions, feel free to send any of us an email. And yeah, just hop into your study abroad office. And yeah, I think that about does it. Thank you guys so much for being so engaging. This was by far the biggest session I have had. So thanks for bearing with me here. But thank you guys so much for joining and sharing. And yeah, we hope to get you on a future voyage.